In this video, we're going to talk about capital. In your journey from going from $0 to 2 million, you're going to address this conversation of capital. What is it, where to get it, how to get it, multiple times. So I thought we'd do a quick video here on various aspects of capital, some core pillars of capital raising, and you can leverage this information to get out there and build whatever you need to. So we're going to talk about bootstrapping, debt capital, investment capital, and creative financing. Now, when you're a real true school finance guy, you know that there's many ways to raise capital well beyond these four, but I picked these four because they're the most common, and we can talk a little bit about it because I like to share some education, things that I wish I knew when I got started. So to kick things off, we'll talk about bootstrapping. Bootstrapping is generally when we're talking about money under 50K, and this money can come from literally anywhere you can find it and pull it from. I've bootstrapped so many businesses when I was younger with credit cards or whatever, a few $1,000s I can muster up from my bank account, or working two jobs to funnel money from one business into another business. This is really the life of an entrepreneur who's bootstrapping their way to build something. Now, if you're building a coaching or a consulting business, it may not require any money. You could just get started with a business card and not even a website. You could bring on a client and you're making thousands of dollars every month. Some businesses, I remember I had a coffee business and a DJ business. Yeah, bootstrapping with credit cards and just taking money wherever I can find it. Put unstructured family and friends loans here. You know, cousin says, yeah, here's $5,000. Just pay me back whenever you can. I've had people lend me equipment and say, yeah, if you want to keep it, just buy it from me down the road. I mean, if you're getting creative here in the bootstrapping universe, you can find money and find resources if you're starting a business that doesn't require a lot to get it going. If you're creating a business that, let's say, requires $1 million to start, bootstrapping is most likely not your friend. But again, if you're starting something small, something local, bootstrapping is most likely where you're going to get started. Most entrepreneurs that start small businesses get started there. And there's been plenty of entrepreneurs that have started at the bootstrapping level and have gone on to build multi-million-dollar businesses. So bootstrapping can be your friend in that regard. Debt capital. Debt capital really has to do with asset-backed loans, when there's collateral, when there's security. Debt capital, you should only take on debt capital if you have a real plan to pay the debt off. You see debt capital a lot in real estate because you have assets that are backing it, or in manufacturing, equipment financing is some kind of asset for these types of loans. It could be $500,000 up to millions of dollars. They could go a little lower, but really, I mean, you could work with the SBA, you can work with banks, hard money financing with insane interest rates. You can have very structured loans, short, mid, long term. But at the end of the day, we're talking about taking a loan, a debt loan that has to be paid back with certain types of interest rates. And if that doesn't occur, it could be very problematic down the road. So you can want to be careful. Another thing to mention is inventory financing. So for example, if a large retailer gives you a big order, a big purchase order, but you don't have the money to make the inventory, you can go to a factoring company and they can give you the money for your invoice. And this is another way to get the capital that you need to continue on with your business. I just say proceed with caution with debt capital. Investment capital, straightforward. This is what a lot of us talk about in our industry is giving equity away for your business. You're giving a percentage of your business away for the investment capital. If you've ever watched Shark Tank, this is all they do, equity investments. I'll take 20% of your business for $1 million in exchange for $1 million worth of capital. There's a lot of different types of vehicles and instruments, as they call them, when it comes to investment capital, equity investments. You have convertible notes. There's hybrid notes, and it can get complicated, but just wrap your head around simply, if you want to raise some investment capital from an angel investor or VC, a funding group, if you want to go through equity crowdfunding, you're eventually going to need to part with a percentage of your business. Now, what percentage? That's a whole other discussion of how we even get to the value of your business or the future value of your business. But it's important to know that you can sell a percentage of your business for investment capital if you can find a willing party to do so. Creative financing. This is my favorite. I've done a lot of creative financing over the years. I put this little note down here, which is as long as it's legal, nothing is off limits to the entrepreneur. Really. I mean, you can do all kinds of hybrid opportunities where you say, well, I'll take some debt, I'll take some equity, I'll give this, I'll do a percentage of the revenue for X period of time. You can start including terms into all this stuff. So I like to leverage the equity inside of a business to attract partners, to attract co-founders, to attract board of advisors, board of directors, mentors, anyone that I can bring into the fold. I like to take a percentage of the equity and say, I'm going to carve this up and slice it and dice it to get me as much value as I can for the equity. So you can also share revenue. I made a whole separate video on this, but you can share revenue outside of equity. You don't always have to give equity away in your business. Sometimes you can just share revenue with partners for a period of time or maybe indefinitely. I know Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank does these in perpetuity. I want 5% of revenue forever for the life of the business. You can start getting very creative. I like to say carve out equity to those who can help you build your product. Very common in software. So if you're building a software project, a tech project, you might take $500,000 to build a prototype. I see a lot of times software development firms will say, we'll just build it for you. You don't need to give us $500,000. But in exchange, we want 20% of your company, 30% of your company. And you get to negotiate those terms as the entrepreneur and business owner. But I say get creative. Nothing is off limits. So use a variety of some of these opportunities to raise capital to get whatever it is that you need done. Now, undercapitalization is listed amongst the top reasons that businesses go under. So here's a simple rule. Whatever you think you need to fund your business, overestimate it. So if you think you need $1 million, ask for 1.5. At least just start asking for more. And then you can work your way back down and hopefully you land somewhere in the middle. You could be dramatic with it. If you need $1 million, ask for 1.8 and just see where you get, because you're better off taking more money and coming in under budget than not having enough money, because that will just tank the business and you'll eventually go under. And nobody wants that. The other thing is, don't be so aggressive on your projections. So if you think you're going to be cash flow positive by month 12, call it month 16. Call it month 18. There's no reason for you to put something out there that is unreasonable, because we're dealing with investors and we want to take on more investment potentially in the future. We have to hit milestones, and business is tough. There's roadblocks all along the way. Just be mentally prepared for slowdowns and for, things to lag. There's a natural lag in business, right? So if you think you need X amount of money, ask for more. If you think you're going to hit profitability by this, extend that timeline. That's just common sense, and it's going to help you in the long run. Always understand how much capital you need to operate your business. I mean, just be firm on your projections. Go deep into your spreadsheets. Know every line item. Now, when you're in the early projection stage, like pre-revenue, $0, all of it is just a mystery. You're not really going to know until you get into it, but you should know what your budgets are, what you're trying to accomplish, and what you're hoping to achieve. That's going to do wonders for you. The capital is out there. So my recommendation to entrepreneurs is don't stop. Do not stop. You have to kiss a lot of frogs to find your prince. Just keep going. The money is out there. Take investor feedback, right? When they tell you what they like and don't like about your business plan, your pitch deck, your opportunity, take it in, adjust your materials, because these are smart people that have money, right? You still need to stick to your vision, but don't put up the wall and say, oh, they're crazy. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't see the vision. Sometimes they don't, but other times they're really smart individuals that are just giving you advice. So take the advice, become stronger with every conversation, stronger. By the time you get to the 100th conversation, you're going to be a beast, and you're going to be able to go in there and say, this is exactly who we are. It's exactly what we need. We've taken all the feedback. We've had all these meetings, all these conversations. Here's where we're at. Here's why we need the capital. This is what our plan is to get it done. That's where you want to be on your journey towards raising capital. So use this information, leverage it to your ability. Don't stop. Don't quit. Get out there and get the capital you need.